All right, here we go with the screen share. And let me make this nice and big for you guys. And if you don't want it to fit your full screen, you can absolutely press escape and it will make it so it's not full screen for you right now, okay? So thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm really excited to get going. Before we get too far along, I want to thank you again for being live and mention that at the end, I will give you my link to my top action items for perimenopause. So stay to the end because I'll put that in the chat. The guide is basically just a quick start to balancing your hormones, and it's my free gift to you for being here with me today. So thank you. Oops, sorry guys, let me just, there we go. Is that right? Yeah, okay, good. So this is the name. I just needed to come up with something that tried to encompass everything I was gonna go over with you all today. And before we get into the content, I just want to tell you a little bit about my story and myself. So my background is in education, and I think that's one of the things that makes me different from other coaches. And like most women, I've experienced hormonal imbalances throughout my life at different points. Actually, ever since I was a teenager, my periods were irregular. And like a lot of girls my age, my doctor said, oh, we'll just put you on the pill and that'll take care of your regular periods. And so I was on the pill for over 10 years. Fast forward, and I'm a little bit older than a teenager now, and I'm all done with having children, but my periods were still irregular. I had some other symptoms that I didn't like as well, including breast tenderness, mood irregularity, sleep issues, sugar cravings, and energy highs and lows, and sometimes not at the right time of day. You know, I'd be really low in the morning and then I'd be really high at night and couldn't fall asleep. My doctor again suggested going on the pill, and it just didn't feel right to me. I felt like there had to be a better way. So it basically became my life's work to study the science about hormone health and learn why I was struggling for so many years. And through a lot of reading and research, I learned how to balance my hormones so I could not only alleviate my symptoms, but I could also keep them away. And this led me to some pretty incredible results. My period is consistent, my breasts are not tender, my moods are level, and I have energy without using caffeine. I sleep well, I'm happy with my weight, and my sugar cravings are gone. I then started using this process with my clients, and they have been able to balance their hormones without using any extreme measures. So I'm going to share as much as I can in the time we have tonight, but an hour, and really less, I think, by the time we're through. I don't even think we'll have been together an hour. It won't be enough to share everything that I know. And I'll also share some resources. If you are somebody who likes to read or listen, I'll share some books and some podcasts. And if you are feeling like you really want some additional support, I'm going to give you information about getting my personal help too. So let's get started. One of the first questions women ask me is, how do I know if I have a hormone imbalance? And I've listed here a bunch of symptoms, and I'll let you read through those. If you are experiencing 2 or more of these symptoms on a regular basis, and regular can mean on a cyclical basis, then you likely have a hormone imbalance. Tonight's webinar is going to give you information that can help with these symptoms. Here's a quick outline of what we're going to be going over tonight. These topics were ones that I had put out a survey asking women what interested them, and this was a lot of the feedback that I got was around these topics. Before we get into that though, I want to go through a little fact and fiction with you. So some women and doctors think that perimenopause really isn't that important. It's menopause that matters. But I have to tell you, perimenopause happens well before menopause, and managing the symptoms of perimenopause can make menopause a much more positive experience. One of the reasons I think women don't know much about this fact is because they don't know enough about perimenopause. And that's not your fault, by the way. Culturally, there isn't a lot of information out there, and I am very passionate about changing that. So I've used this word perimenopause a lot, and from the survey I did, it sounded like some people knew more or less what it was, but I want to give a really clear definition before we carry on. So believe it or not, perimenopause can begin as early as 35 years old and can last for 10 or more years. That's a lot of years to have symptoms. And what it is it's the slow decline of our ovaries' role in our endocrine system. So our body is not ovulating monthly when we're in perimenopause. Now, when our body does ovulate, we have a natural progesterone spike, and that's a good thing. Progesterone is what makes us calm and happy, helps us to sleep. So naturally, when we ovulate, normally we have this progesterone spike. But if it's a month during perimenopause when we don't ovulate, we don't have that natural spike. In the meantime, our estrogen's kind of being a little wonky. Some months, it's doing a little bit of wonkiness. Some months it's doing kind of crazy wonkiness. And so when you lack that nice progesterone spike and you have this estrogen wonkiness, you end up with something called estrogen dominance. And that's where the symptoms are coming from, is with the estrogen running the show. So in perimenopause, it's very normal for our cycles to become irregular. Early in perimenopause, the time between cycles typically shortens. So instead of getting your cycle every 28 days, you might be getting it every 26 or 24 days. But for some women, they end up getting their period every 2 to 3 weeks. And that's not something that we want to live, with for 10 years. So that's just an example of, one of the symptoms when it gets really bad. As you get later in perimenopause, you may skip a cycle and then have an especially heavy one, or you may skip a cycle for several months and think, oh, I'm heading towards menopause, and then it might come back on a regular basis. So as you can see, there's a variety. And another thing that can increase significantly in perimenopause is PMS. And who wants 10 plus years of PMS? Nobody I know. Perimenopause did not have one hormonal root cause. What it is it's an expression of hormonal interdependence. And that's why it's so important to understand not just one or two hormones, but how the hormones interact with each other. All right, so, oops, sorry guys. Stick with this one. I want to go through some myths and facts about perimenopause. So the first myth is that perimenopause is the same for every woman, and it's the same every month for each individual woman. And as you can tell from what I just described, there's a ton of variety in perimenopause. So you've got, for you and your sister or you and your best friend, you're going to have different experiences with perimenopause. And then just you individually, you can have different experiences month to month. So it makes it really interesting, right? Never dull. And this is because our hormones are fluctuating month to month. Sometimes they fluctuate a little, sometimes they fluctuate a lot. The myth number 2 is, I'll know I'm in perimenopause because my period will change. Well, I have to tell you that symptoms can actually predate period changes. So you can have symptoms and still have a very normal for you cycle. Okay. The symptoms impact mood, sleep, weight, sex drive, and my personal favorite, our willingness to accommodate others. You can read into that what you will. And so as our estrogen drops, we actually are less interested in what others think. And that's why a lot of women, as they hit their late 30s, 40s, and 50s, become much more comfortable with themselves. It's not just because we're aging, it's actually from our hormones. So I want to tell you a quick story about a client of mine, or about my clients in general. Most of them don't know that they're in perimenopause when we start to work together. All they know is they have these symptoms, and some have asked their doctors about them, but they've been told it's just your age, or it's just what happens to women. That's really unsatisfactory and a little bit misleading. So one of the things that I work with clients on is understanding their bodies better and getting to a point where they can say, no, I don't have these symptoms anymore. It doesn't have to do with my age or my being a woman. All right, let's go to the third myth. I just need to hunker down and get through perimenopause. There's nothing I can do about it. And unfortunately, some doctors really believe this, but this isn't just a myth. It's dangerous. Not addressing the root causes of your symptoms can lead to more worrisome symptoms and worsening symptoms. They can, get worse by not addressing them. And that can lead to things like an unnecessary hysterectomy. It can lead to hormone dependent cancers and things like autoimmune disease, none of which I think are on our, to-do list for our 40s and 50s. So the rest of this webinar is going to be about what you can do during perimenopause to not just survive, but to thrive. Okay, so we're going to talk about 3 keys to hormonal harmony, and these are the areas that support the body's ability to detox and to establish good hormonal pathways. So we always start with nutrition, okay? And in nutrition, I'm putting food and I'm putting supplements, and I'm putting those together for a reason, and I'll get to that. Now, in the materials where I was talking about this webinar, and at the beginning I promised I'd talk about 4 foods that every woman should eat. So let's talk about those first, okay? The 4 foods for every woman are leafy greens first. And the reason, or one of the many reasons leafy greens are great for you, is because they have B vitamins, calcium, and magnesium. And these are all vital nutrients for our reproductive systems. The second is cruciferous vegetables. So these are your broccolis, your cauliflowers, your Brussels sprouts. And these, as well as greens, encourage the most desirable estrogen metabolite. So we talk about estrogen a lot. Well, it actually has 3 different metabolites. And I won't get into the science of that right now, but of the 3, 1 is more desirable than the other 2. And so we really want, when the estrogen metabolizes, we want to get as much of that more desirable metabolite. So you should aim for 3 cups of cruciferous vegetables a week. The third is high quality protein. I'm not going to get into the difference between animal protein and plant protein right now, but whatever you choose for protein, you just want it to be the highest quality you can afford. So that means 100% grass-fed meats, pasture-raised eggs, wild-caught fish, and organic legumes, organic seeds, and organic nuts. And to go into a little bit more detail about one of those, chia seeds is the 4th food every woman should eat, and that is because of a few reasons. It has the correct balance of omega-3s and omega-6s. You hear a lot about omega-3s, and it's not that we're super deficient in it, it's that the standard American diet has way too many omega-6s. So we want to eat foods that rise our omega-3s and also correctly balance them. Chia seeds are also rich in antioxidants, which are really good for your body's immune system and helping you to detox. They provide fiber, iron, and calcium, and they are a complete protein, so it's another protein source. In addition to foods you should eat, I want to just mention briefly foods you shouldn't eat. We don't want to eat foods that are toxic, and that sounds a little bit severe, but let me explain what I mean. Anything that contains hidden estrogen is going to increase your estrogen. Now, you already know in perimenopause, you're risking the estrogen dominance. So you don't want to be ingesting things that have estrogen and increasing that estrogen even more. So things would be conventional meat and dairy, non-organic produce, canned food, and fish with high mercury. All are going to impact your estrogen levels. So let me tell you a quick story about my client, Kim. When Kim and I first started working together, she believed she ate well and just wanted to know, how can I get the most bang for my buck with my food? And those were her words. And as we worked together, I taught Kim that though her eating habits were good, I could help her make them better. And one of the things we really worked on was getting those leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables into her daily meals. And she was so pleased by the end of her program with the new swaps she'd learned. And that's one of the things I teach my clients is, well, instead of having regular rice, how about cauliflower rice? It's an easy way to do a swap. And my kids at this point, they don't bat an eye that they don't have rice as much as they used to. And they know cauliflower rice is just what they eat. So Kim was really excited that she'd learn how to easily add nutritional value to her meals. All right, so that's the food piece. Let's talk about supplements. So before I talk about these 3 supplements for perimenopause, I want to mention that supplements are in addition to your food. They're not a replacement for any food, okay? And anybody who tells you otherwise, I don't think they have your best interest at heart, okay? You want to be getting your nutrition from food first and then supplementing to help with your symptoms with supplements, okay? Supplements are really for shorter term support as you work on your hormonal imbalance. There are some that you might take on a daily basis long term, but most of them are short term, okay? Before you take a supplement, you want to ask yourself, can I get whatever I'm trying to get from this supplement from a real food source? What issue in my system am I hoping that this supplement will address? And how can I measure whether or not this supplement is working? So usually it takes about 3 months to assess if a supplement is making a difference in your life, because they are gentle. And if it's a high quality supplement, then it's going to be a very natural thing. And that's the second thing I want to mention. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about it tonight, but you really want to look at your supplement quality. They should be coming from a food source. And everything you can buy off the shelf is not equal. So I'll just leave that there. So let's talk about these 3 supplements. Methylated B vitamins help with liver detox of excess estrogen. Did you know that your liver is what is most responsible for detoxing your body of estrogen you don't need? So it starts in your liver and it goes to your gut. So we are supporting, methylated B vitamins are necessary because if you don't methylate the estrogen, it gets reabsorbed. So again, when you're having your perimenopause, you've got your progesterone dip, you've got your estrogen kind of being all over the place. If it goes to your gut and it's not been methylated, it gets reabsorbed by your body and that increases your estrogen, okay? Magnesium glycinate is for sleep. One of the first things I work with clients on is their sleep, because if you're not sleeping, anything else you do is not going to have the impact you want it to have. Sleep is so important. And I remember reading somewhere that if you lose just 1 hour of sleep a night, it's like pulling an all-nighter once a week. And that's when it really hit me how important sleep is. You know, everybody needs different amounts of sleep, and I won't go into a lot of detail about that right now. But if you're having trouble sleeping, some magnesium glycinate can really help. And the third is vitamin C. Vitamin C helps increase your progesterone. It has additional benefits, including preventing cancer and stroke, keeping your eyes working well, boosting immunity. We all want to do that right now, right? And increasing longevity. And I like vitamin C because it's water soluble, so any excess you just excrete in your urine. So I'm a big fan of vitamin C. All right, so that's the nutrition key. We're going to move on now to the exercise key. And what's most important in this category is the right exercise. Over-exercise is as bad as under-exercise. Exercise, you probably know, gets your lymphatic system moving and your blood flowing. And when you sweat, you actually move waste and toxins out of your body. We all want to do that. So a general guideline is for 30 minutes a day, 2 to 3 days a week, you want to do some sort of sweating exercise. For 2 days a week, you want to do some sort of strength exercise. And then another 2 to 3 days a week, you want to do something restorative like yoga or Pilates. Now, that's a general guide because your body's current needs should dictate the type of exercise you do, the frequency, and the duration, okay? So I tell my clients, if your energy without caffeine is at a 5 out of 10 or below, you should not be exercising more than 30 minutes a day, and it should be low impact. We're talking walking, we're talking restorative yoga. If you don't have the energy to be above a 5, you don't want to be using that energy up on rigorous exercise because you're not going to have a store left for the other things. Once you are at a 7 or above, you can increase your exercise intensity. So let me tell you a quick story about my client, Melissa. She's a friend that I play tennis with. And when we began working together, I knew from playing tennis with her that she exercised regularly and took it very seriously. But during our intake meeting, I realized that she was doing too much of one thing and not enough cross-training to help not just her hormones, but her overall health. So part of her program revolved around shifting her exercise mindset and schedule so that she was including restorative exercise and strength training as well as her preferred exercise. All right, let's get to that third key. So lifestyle choices, very, very broad, okay? And we're gonna touch on a couple of different things here. But I thought this graphic was kind of funny because I saw the notebook and I was like, oh, notebook journaling, that's a lifestyle choice. But you may notice that it's a McDonald's journal. And so my point here, I just wanna make is that no matter what lifestyle choices you make, if you're making a poor choice in one of the other keys, in this case the example is nutrition, you're not going to get the results you want. That these three keys really integrate with each other, and it needs to be changes you make in all three. So a couple of things you can do in your lifestyle choices that can help with your hormone health are keeping toxins out of your home. So let's talk about external toxins first. So have it be a house policy that nobody wears their shoes indoors. The bottoms of our shoes pick up a lot of things, a lot that we're not aware of. So you've got your pesticides, your herbicides, but dogs and cats and birds and stuff go to the bathroom outside. You don't want to be tracking that all over your house on a microbial level. You also don't want to bring in products that are toxic. So you want to use non-toxic cleaners, non-toxic personal care products. One of the things I teach my clients is how to use essential oils to do a lot of DIYs. I go through their products that they're using with them, and we look at the Environmental Working Group's website and see how they rate on that. Because it's hard, there's a lot of greenwashing that happens on those labels. So it's hard to know if you're using non-toxic products. If you haven't swapped out your plastic water bottle or plastic food storage containers, you should definitely do that. It's an easy swap. It's not just BPA in plastic. That's not good for our hormones. There's other things. And so you just want to use glass or stainless steel for that stuff. Another thing you can do is reduce your heavy metal exposure by using a water filter and making sure your food is as organic as you can afford. Let's talk about internal stressors now. So one of the things I teach my clients is the importance of reducing our daily perceived stress, okay? And there's things you can do using your essential oils, creating a self-care routine, meditating, journaling, all these can reduce that daily perceived stress. And the one I want to talk a little bit about is your self-care routine. This is really not optional. And here's why a self-care routine is not optional. We go into a state of perceived stress 50 times a day. We don't even know it. Sometimes we think our flight or fight response is energy, but it's not. It's panic. And when you're in the panic, your hormones are going all over the place, okay? The fight or fight turns on our survival system, and that messes up progesterone, estrogen, insulin, and thyroid, among other hormones. When we feel flight or fight, our sympathetic nervous system turns on, and our sympathetic nervous system is a place of holding on. We hold on to weight, we hold on to moods, we hold on to toxins that are physical, mental, and emotional. So we have to build in self-care in order to turn on the parasympathetic system and get to a rest and digest state. And that's where we can release fat, release sour moods, and release toxins. So you can see why it's really not an option to do your self-care. And I want to give you a story about my client, Katie. She's a great example of how self-care totally has impacted her daily life. So I make all my clients try meditation, and I guide them through how to do this. And Katie not only found it helpful, but has discovered that it is a keystone habit for her. In her words, she said, "The most memorable part of my program was the first time I really felt the meditation working. I got tears in my eyes and my whole body was pulsating. It's hard to explain. I just saw something. It was a life-changing thing for me." So self-care routines can really be life-changing. All right, so I've given you a lot of information, and you might feel excited and you might have a few that you're ready to try, but you might also be wondering, how am I going to do this? And the answer is you do it in small steps and baby steps, and you slowly replace habits that aren't serving you with better habits that are going to help you with your hormones, as well as, these habits are going to impact your immune system function. They're going to impact, your ability to socialize. I mean, it just has so many implications. So the way we do this is with a gradual approach. okay? And you start off at the top with, identifying your symptoms, and then you pick the one that's kind of the worst, and then you find out in the different areas what you can do to directly address that particular symptom. Now, the first, and I did tell you that I would give you some resources. If you are somebody who really likes to read or likes to listen, here's a couple books and a couple podcasts. If you want to take a quick screenshot of this slide, please be my guest. These are a few that I've really liked and have thought have been helpful in my own journey and understanding more. And the first thing I recommend, no matter which symptom you pick, is that you start with some sort of nutritional jumpstart. We start with food because food is the building block for a healthy body. No matter what your symptom is, no matter what your goal is, your food intake is going to have a direct correlation to how that goes for you. So if the idea of doing a nutritional jumpstart alone feels really daunting, I hear you, because I think it goes better when we have accountability and expert guidance, and then it truly makes a difference in our lives. So if you're feeling ready to take control of your hormones, so you're no longer experiencing your symptoms and you're ready to transform the way you feel, I want to invite you to experience an experience where I will guide you step by step through a hormone jumpstart, where you will eat delicious, amazing foods that support your body so you can eliminate your symptoms. And it's going to satisfy your taste buds. So going through this program will give your body the chance to reset and allow you to get back in the driver's seat when it comes to your hormones, the place we all want to be, right? When you're in the driver's seat, you can recalibrate your body, and that allows it to safely eliminate excess hormones and create the hormones that your body really needs. So if you struggled with your hormone imbalance and symptoms, you've probably tried other solutions, or you've been frustrated and you haven't gotten the results you're looking for. And you might be wondering why this program could help. So let me tell you a little bit. This isn't a diet, okay? In a diet, you are counting calories and you get cranky and you give up. And at the end of the day, you're hungry, lethargic. In the 7-day hormone jumpstart, it's not about starving your body. You're not fasting, you're not juicing, you're not eating weird foods, and I'm not going to ask you to take a lot of supplements. It's really about nourishing your body with foods, and these foods will help you detox from excess hormones that you don't need and build the necessary hormones that you do need. So the results that most of my clients experience are feeling good about their weight, noticing their moods are more stable and consistent, having more energy at the right time of day, sleeping better, transitioning to a healthy lifestyle that they can live with, and leaving old habits that aren't serving them behind. The food in this jumpstart is going to amaze and delight you. While you may be surprised to hear this, you won't be hungry. Everyone who participates is amazed that they quickly experience a significant energy boost, and they find the results can be long-term. Now, I will be honest with you, it may take you 2 to 3 days for your body to adjust, but you will eventually feel great and experience the results that you want. So in my jumpstart, I have 7 days of meal plans, which includes 28 recipes. So between you and me, I've never eaten 28 recipes in 7 days. So you're definitely going to have extra after the program. And you won't feel deprived with the menu I've put together. You'll know exactly what to buy, exactly what to cook. And if you don't want to follow the meal plan, you don't have to. You can just follow the guidelines that I'm going to give you. Most clients really like the meal plan, though, and the shopping list. So this was from one of my clients. She said that the experience changed her life more than she expected, and really focused on how the nutrition was, from the cooking, changing what she was eating, the grocery store shopping, just had a really good impact on her, how she was feeling. So here is a sneak peek at what some of the recipes are. These are some of my favorites. As you read through these, you're probably thinking, it doesn't sound like a deprivation diet. It's more like what I'd go and eat at a spa. And the recipes are not hard to put together. They're not super time consuming, and I give you some little tricks and tips for saving even more time. The recipes were all created by a whole food chef, and they're delicious and easy to make while supporting your health goals. So that's 28 recipes and a meal plan and a shopping list. My client Katie, that you heard of before, she reported feeling healthier and more energetic and not needing a coffee or a nap to get through her day. And that really resonated with me because, believe me, I was either choosing coffee or a nap to get through my day. And I really liked what she said about not doubting something until you try it, that a lot of times it's our own, something that's going on inside of us that gives us these doubts. But if you can turn off those voices and try something new and see where it takes you, you might be really surprised and satisfied with what you end up with. So in addition to the meal plan and the recipes, you get a guidebook that will give you information on what to do on your Jumpstart, a daily protocol, which is an easy to follow document. You can print it out, post it on your fridge, and these help you to stay on track. I've also included a few bonuses. So the first is a kickoff call where I will go over how to prepare for the Jumpstart and what to expect. And there'll be plenty of time to get your questions answered. The second bonus is a closed Facebook group where you get daily support. I'll be there, your fellow participants will be there, and we're gonna make sure nobody feels stuck or alone. It's private, so only the people in our Jumpstart can see our posts. And I will post daily with additional education on a variety of topics. And you can also post any questions that you might have. And for anybody that's like, yes, I'm ready to go, if you register in the next 48 hours, I am going to throw in one more bonus, a 30-minute post-Jumpstart strategy session with me. So this session is normally $147, but if you sign up in the next 48 hours, you'll receive this session as my gift to you. And during the session, we talk about you, just you and your hormonal landscape and what the next steps are so that you can continue to have success. So as you're thinking about this, let's consider everything that you get in the Jumpstart. Okay, you get the guidebook, the protocol, the week of meal plans with 28 recipes, the Facebook group, the kickoff call, the bonus 30-minute post-Jumpstart session. So this is all valued at $709. And normally, I charge $147 to do the Jumpstart as a group. But in addition to all these bonuses, I have one more very special gift for all of you participants today. So my gift to you is an additional $50 off when you sign up for the 7-day Hormone Jumpstart. So it starts on May 18th. So we've got some time to, start shopping, because I know right now you might not be going to the grocery store every week. I don't plan to offer this program again for several months. So I hope you'll sign up now and save the $50. Why not? I've designed this program to give you personal and step-by-step support and guidance to help you eliminate your hormone symptoms. That's my goal, is women being very happy on a month-to-month basis without any sort of cyclical hormonal symptoms. And I want you to enjoy food and feel good and supported by me and others. If you've had trouble making changes in the past, I want to show you that it can be different with the right support, especially when you have someone encouraging you, supporting you, and a group that's cheering you on. I don't want anything to get in the way of your success. My client Kim had some really exciting results from our work together. I think it's really important that you feel different, but it was really neat to see her blood work show a difference. And that was one of her goals coming in. She really wanted her blood work to be impacted, and from her hard work, she was able to get to that point. So I'm just so proud of her. So maybe you're not sure if a Jumpstart is really what you need, but I have a question for you. Are you okay with feeling exhausted, bloated, sleep deprived, and foggy a month from now, a year from now? What if in just 7 days, you could jumpstart your hormones and give your body the reset it needs to experience more energy, less hot flashes, less bloating, less gut discomfort, and less stubborn belly fat? If you're feeling done with your symptoms and don't have an explanation for why you feel the way you do, you don't have to face it alone. For those who are ready to jumpstart and ready to get rid of those symptoms, I'm inserting the URL into the chat, and I'm going to leave from the big screen here. And I will put it here. So there's the, if you go into the chat now, you'll see the link if you're ready to get started on the Jumpstart. And that will automatically take off the $50. You don't have to do any code or anything. You automatically get that. If you want to kind of read through the Jumpstart a little bit and understand more of it, it takes you a little while to process, then I have a second link for you. And that one will take you to a website, and then you can still link right from that website for the next 48 hours to get that $50 off. And that's all we got for the recorded session. So I am going to stop recording.